I'm Norma Jean Shaw, and this is A Talk of the Town. Welcome to Daryl Funk. You are the Circuit Court Clerk for Warren County, and it's a pleasure to have you in on your first year served to the community.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So let's talk about all the things that you do. Of course, you announced a year ago, a little over a year ago, that you were running with the full endorsement of Jennifer Sims, who'd been doing the job for a really long time.
That's right. Certainly top of my list when thinking back on the past year is how blessed I've been to have an opportunity to follow up for Jennifer Sims. She'd been in the clerk's office for over 4 decades, both as an employee and then as the elected clerk. And she left me a well-run office, great staff, and really the momentum to be successful. And I've done my best to capitalize on that. And hopefully I've done that.
Now, when you took over, there were some things that you hoped to do. Now, a year in, I'm sure you still have a list of things that you want to do. But when we first met at the beginning of your campaign, you'd hoped to do some computerized files and things like that. How is that list going?
Well, that's right. Technology was at the top of the list of my campaign commitments that I talked about during the campaign and what I've tried to do. Look at my notes for a second. First thing we did, we'd actually upgrade all of our computers and our scanners, which is how we take records and put them into our digital system, which is very important for our office. And that was something we were able to do mostly at state expense rather than at the cost of the local taxpayer, and something that was well overdue. So, technology has been the watchword. We're now scanning all of our documents. We had been, up until I took office, only scanning our civil cases. Now we are also scanning criminal as well as search warrants, and we've really opened it up. And I'll talk about goals later on, but it's all building to go forward. In addition, we've opened up a software program for attorneys to be able to access records remotely in a secure manner, and that's a new program that we've put in place to really help people who are represented by attorneys be able to access records without their attorneys having to come into our office, running up their bills, and making it more expensive to have a lawyer represent you. In addition, we have a new server, which, of course, with having all these digital records, you have to be able to protect them. So we've actually combined servers at no cost to our taxpayers with both our district courts, and with the goal that they're going to be going digital as well and be able to seamlessly sort of integrate that. In addition, we're also doing digital appeals now, which is saving a lot of work time, also moving those cases along, because if anyone's ever been involved with a lawsuit, it lasts a long time, and often an appeal will last twice as long. So we've really been able to streamline that process as well. We're also, as part of that server I was talking about, we're putting in an uninterruptible power supply, which will, in the event of power surges or power failures, be able to keep that system running seamlessly and continue to provide service and make sure that we don't lose any data, because, of course, with technology, that's the most important thing.
So it sounds like you've been pretty busy your first year.
We have been, definitely.
But when I stop in there to look up a record or do something that I need to do officially as a reporter, everyone seems to be working, but it's not frenetic as it sometimes could be when you're dealing with searching for things. But it's interesting, when I looked up what some of the duties of your job were, I found the 99-page document. So I imagine there's somewhat of a learning curve, but you came kind of prepared because you were an attorney in your previous life.
It's true. I spent a lot of time in the clerk's office as an attorney, and actually once I tried to be in the office during the campaign, as whenever I wasn't out knocking doors, watching Jennifer, being able to start learning the things that I'd need to know. But also, once the election was over, I was in that office from November. I shut down my law practice, and I was there till I took office in January. The number of different responsibilities that come across my door any given day is huge. You mentioned the 99-page document. But there are certain things that happen every week, every month, every quarter, and that was really where I started my focus. But also, you really do have to go out and learn about all the things that are going to cross your door at any point. And really, we're very fortunate that we have manuals and things that we rely on to be able to find the answer. But a lot of it is just pulling out our code book and going through the law and figuring out what it is. And often, what the clerk says is, there's not a lot of judicial opinions interpreting it because the court defers to what the clerk determines on these things. So it's a great responsibility, and one that I try to always focus on what's good for our customers, what's good for our citizens.
And that is important to know. Now, you have citizens come in. Some people think they only go to your office if they are an offender, if they had a traffic ticket, or if they want to get married. But there are lots of reasons why folks have to come through your doors.
I said during the campaign, really our office touches people from cradle to grave. It starts out as early as adoptions, with children that are fortunate enough to be able to find new families. Juvenile cases are appealed to our court, and it goes all the way to the grave. Unfortunately, anyone who passes away and needs to have something done with their estate, that comes through our office, whether or not they had a will. In addition, we really, marriage licenses, it affects you from beginning to end, and people don't realize that. One of our biggest areas is concealed carry permits we were talking about before we were on the air, and that affects anyone who cares about their right to bear arms and the Second Amendment, and those people have to come into our office every 5 years to recertify. So, jury duty, there's a whole host of reasons why somebody might come to our office that would not involve getting in trouble with the law.
There you go. So you see all kinds of people, not just ones who maybe were driving a little too fast.
Good and bad days.
Good and bad days, yeah. So, what do you have outlaid for the future? I mean, you have a list of goals, which you said we would talk about.
Yes, and that was one thing, you always look at what you've done up till now, but you're really not doing the citizens a service if you're not looking forward. My goals for 2017, and probably some of these will spill over to next year. My biggest one right now, obviously the General Assembly is in session. HB 1849, which Delegate Gilbert is a chief patron of, and I brought a copy for you, is actually, right now, concealed carry permits are like a lot of government-issued permits. They're on a very small couple of pieces of paper folded together. This is something you have to carry for 5 years and has a tremendous possibility that it's going to fall apart in a wallet, a purse, wherever. So a lot of courts are looking to, and we are as well, to switch over to a hard copy, similar to a driver's license or a credit card. But the law actually up until this year has said that the permit can't be any larger than that fishing license. And the companies that do this can't print them that small. They print them on credit card size licenses. So I've found that issue in the statute actually for our Clerks Association, brought it to their attention, and we contacted Delegate Gilbert, who has introduced a bill to change the law to allow these larger hard copy license. The biggest reason for having this is if you're someone who believes in carrying arms and you have a gun with you and you're stopped as part of a traffic stop or whatever, and you need to inform the officer you have a gun, well, they're going to want to know whether you have a concealed carry license, and if it's falling apart in your wallet, that presents a whole potential for issues. So having these nice hard copy license really protects the citizen, protects the officer, and I think creates a better situation for everyone involved. And I'm really looking forward to being able to do that without, I don't think, having any additional expense for our community.
Well, I'm sure there are a lot of people who have dealt with the issue of a folded up, crumpled up concealed carry permit who will applaud you, hopefully, if this goes through.
Well, thank you. The second thing is on July 1st, we're expecting to go fileless. So up till now, we've been paper reliant, and that's just the way the world worked. As part of being able to scan everything, we're looking to stop having to do that. We spend thousands of dollars on paper, and the manpower involved with processing that paper, and also creates the possibility of mistakes. Whereas with computers, there are different concerns, but it creates a system that enables someone to be able to pull these documents up remotely, as well as streamlining the process and getting the information where it needs to go. So we're really excited about that, and right now we're on course to go fileless in July. Couple of grants that I'm working on to be able to make it so the lower the cost for the community would be, we're doing a grant for records preservation currently, and we're looking to do another one next year. It should be coming out in the spring whether or not we received it. we do have paper records dating back to 1836. They're aging, and it's important for us to get money to protect those records from the state, not local funds. The second one is we're looking to expand pretrial services in this county, as well as some of the circuit. And what that will do is enable us to identify offenders that need to stay in jail, and for those that are released, keep track of them and better be able to do that. And third is be able to identify those who should be on bond, and to lower the cost for the community, because every person that sits in jail while awaiting trial is an additional cost, and a very significant one for our Board of Supervisors and our community and our taxpayers. And certainly if we can do that in a safe manner, I think that's going to be very important.
Okay, well, it sounds like you have been thinking about everything that you want to achieve while you've been working day to day.
Definitely. There's a whole host of other things we're working on this year, and I'm always looking at where we are, but also where we're going.
Well, that's an important thing to do for a community that has a number of people and who needs the services that you provide. Any words of advice that you can give to someone who's coming in to do some research or might need to avail of your services?
One thing I'd suggest is giving us a call. A lot of times people will have been suggested to go to the courthouse, and we may not be the place you need to go. We are very familiar with those situations, and we can usually help you find where you do need to go if it's not to us. The second thing is it gives us a heads up so we know to be watching for you, and maybe we can even get the information you're looking for to save you time when you come into the office and you're not stuck waiting in line behind someone else. So that would be the biggest thing, but if you come on in, we're always willing to help and try to do it in a timely manner.
And that's a great piece of advice. I didn't realize that folks could call ahead sometimes, and that would be helpful. But
sure.
I have to say that every time I've been there, your staff has been helpful and friendly, and I've always come away with what I've needed.
Definitely. It's 540-635-2435. We have live answer. We don't have a recorded message or anything like that. We'll be glad to help anyone. And we're open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every Monday through Friday, except holidays.
All right. Well, thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll have you on again to talk about how things are going. Particularly excited to hear about the grants that hopefully will come through, and we definitely will follow that House bill to see what happens with the concealed carry permit.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's a look at what's going on in the clerk's office. I'm Norma Jean Shaw, and we'll be back soon for another edition of Talk of the Town.